I'm mad. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital Envy, my GH after show. Let's get this over with. Maxie went to Nixon Falls to visit Nina, and of course Nina couldn't get her out of there fast enough. When Maxie left, we see a man lurking behind the fence, and sure enough, it's Peter August. Y'all, if GH's top doctor and top nurse can't even tell a dead body from a live one, how on earth is GH supposedly the best hospital in New York State? Explain that to me. Anyway, ironically, the first person to see Peter is Mike. Just Mike. And of course, Peter is terrified at first until he realizes that Sonny doesn't have his memory. And of course, he sees Nina in the window, and he goes in there to get reacquainted with her, and she is as equally terrified. When Mike left to go check on Phyllis, Peter went into overdrive, reminding us of all the reasons why we wanted him dead 3 years ago, a year ago, a few months ago, whenever Finn killed Peter. Long story short, Peter wants Nina to help him find Louise, and if she doesn't cooperate, he's gonna blow her little secret life in Nixon Falls with Mike sky high to Carly, which would obviously ruin her relationship with her grandson Wiley, but frankly, I think she's more worried about Mike. The last few weeks, she's like, Wiley who? Now obviously, Nina already knows where the baby is, so she's gonna try her best to bide some time. She gets a chance to call Dr. Obrecht and tells her that Peter is alive and in Nixon Falls and trying to find Maxie's baby. And so Obrecht comes up with a plan to send him over to St. Lucia, where, as you guys might know, she's going to take a vacation with Scott Baldwin and also go to a medical conference. If anyone could deal with Peter, it's Liesl Obrecht, okay? She had him in a cabin for the entire summer and no one knew where he was for the longest time. I guess I gotta give props to the GH writers for putting the two least enjoyed storylines together and making it slightly more entertaining. It did actually lead to some funny scenes with Nina when Phyllis's cop friend shows up at the Tano and gets introduced to Peter. Nina was throwing one-liners like, oh, he's so wanted back at home, and oh, Peter's always on the run. I loved that. That's the best thing to come out of this garbage storyline. I'm sure that the scenes between Scotty and Liesl and Peter that will happen in St. Lucia are gonna be entertaining as well, but I swear if it ends with anyone but Peter dying, I will be livid. Mind you, it appears that some of the deaths that Peter put in motion were greatly exaggerated. As you guys know, Drew is in an undisclosed prison somewhere, and it turns out the real nurse Chloe is in there as well, and a third prisoner who is female that we've only heard scream so far. If I were to guess, I would lean towards it being Hayden. As much as I want it to be Holly, I think it might be Hayden because there's all this stuff happening with her off screen right now, and it seems kind of probable, I guess. I just don't know what Peter would want with Hayden, but it just seems like the story is going that way. Anyway, Drew and the real Chloe plan on working together to get out of that prison, so that should be fun to watch, and I'm sure when they do, they'll try to get that third prisoner out as well, hopefully. Meanwhile, Peter's former partner in crime, Cyrus Renaud, is still causing chaos off screen. It turns out he still has pull inside the prison, and he tries to send a hit out on Laura and Martin, and the PCPD come in to warn them and say that they need to go into protective custody. I would say this is super left field if I didn't already know that Jeannie Francis was going to go on vacation, and honestly, Martin is not on enough to actually care how long he's gone, so I'm sure we'll see them back in the fall. This couldn't have happened at a worse time though, because Spencer is going to have one less family member to look out for him, and boy does he need it, especially when it comes to his girlfriend Esme. The more I see of her, the less I trust that girl. She is bad news. Though I don't really know why I care, because he did Trina dirty last week and I'm still mad about that. But yeah, let's talk about this Esme chick, because it was obvious before that there was something off about her given how blasé she was about torching Ava's car and putting Kiki Jerome's ID by it. But then this week, she wants to get close to Trina for no other reason than she knows too much, which is a scary thought coming from that girl. And on top of that, when she and Spencer go to visit Alexis in prison, she sets her eyes on Ryan Chamberlain, and she is very eager to talk to him. She tried to communicate with Ryan with the help of Harmony, and for a guy that is supposedly locked in, he looked absolutely terrified of Esme. I really want to know what their connection is. I'm getting crazed fan vibes from her. Maybe she's just like a die-hard fan that is actually trying to emulate Ryan, but he clearly seems very uncomfortable with her. So yeah, What do you guys think? What's going on there? Harmony got some bad vibes from Esme too, and she went right to Alexis to warn her to get Spencer to stay away from that girl because there is something wrong with her. We all know it. Alright, let's talk about Michael, Willow, and Chase. Now, as you guys know, Brooklyn caught Chase out of his wheelchair, and this week he confesses to her that he knows about the Millow affair, and on top of that, that he found the papers that prove that Edward was planning on getting Jimmy Lee Holt back in the will. Now, while all of this is happening, Michael and Willow are at the Corinthos house, and Willow is just so tired of having to hide their relationship, and she's tired of lying to Chase. Not as much as being tired of hiding their relationship. But anyway, she decides that this is the time to go to Chase and confess the truth because she just can't take it anymore. And so that's what they do. They go over to the Quartermaines and they close the door and talk to Chase and say that they are in love with each other. And Chase is just like, yeah, I know. I almost walked in on you sleeping with each other at Wiley's birthday. Man, I was so ready to watch Chase rip them to shreds. I mean, I've been looking forward to that, but unfortunately, Chase is still Chase. And if he wasn't Chase, you know, I wouldn't be so in love with the guy. But I'm just, it was just so lackluster, you know. He was very forgiving, and of course he was still angry and probably won't be their friends for a while. But he just let them off easy and even gave Michael the papers instead of Austin to do with him or do with them what he will. Chase goes back to his own apartment, and Willow, of course, follows him there because she's not finished talking with him yet, and of course she wants to give the ring back. And this bothered me so much. She manipulated him into letting her inside. She's just like, I'm so parched because my car doesn't have air conditioning. You have a window, girl. So he lets her in and they have an amicable conversation, and it ends with them just wanting happiness for each other. And I'm like, it could have been so much better than this. I'm never going to ship Michael and Willow. It's just never gonna happen. I do not like them. They are garbage human beings and they're just so annoying to watch. And you know, it's just, I wanted so much more, guys. I wanted so much more. Let's actually talk about Austin because yes, while he is over the moon of getting those letters that could potentially get him ELQ shares, the most interesting scenes with him this week actually took place between him and Leo, Olivia's son. Leo's been acting a little bit weird this week. I mean, he completely ignored Sam for no apparent reason, and then he pricks his finger, so Olivia takes him to the hospital to get it checked out because she thinks that he will need stitches, and Austin is the one that deals with him, and their interactions, it honestly kind of seemed like Austin knew that there was something off with Leo, and he was kind of insisting to Olivia that he be the doctor that takes care of him. If I were to guess, just judging by their interactions, I would say that maybe Austin thinks that Leo is autistic, and perhaps maybe Austin might be autistic too. I don't know. That's just my hunch, but it kind of seemed like it might be playing out that way. Alright, let's roll things back and talk about Maxie for a bit. Now, she is back in Port Charles, and she goes all in with helping Jason and Carly plan their wedding, and Jason says that there is no expense limit. So Maxie is super excited to have an endless, wide open budget, and it's going to be as extravagant as an American soap opera with no budget will let it be, probably. One of the first people she sees before Jason and Carly, though, is Valentine, and Valentine happened to have Louise with him, and she got to even hold her, and she stole... Maxie stole her binky, and apparently, according to Brooklyn, it's her favorite binky, and it's just missing now, but I feel like that's gonna bite Maxie in the ass somehow. We'll see. Maxie's ass should have just stayed in Texas, honestly. She's not prepared to be back home at all. Ooh, we gotta talk about Jason and Carly, because they had some very interesting scenes this week. I mean, obviously right now, everyone is feeling some type of way about their upcoming nuptials. For instance, Liesel is aggravated, and Britt is resigned, and Joss is super excited, and Jax is livid, and Jax makes it known that he's livid when he has dinner with Carly and Joss at the Metro Court. And he becomes even more livid when he learns that some of the 5 family members are in that wedding, and he doesn't want Jocelyn to be a part of that wedding because of that. I cannot wait to see Jax fail at whatever he does for this time. Now, the next day, Jocelyn and Jason have a conversation in the Corinthos kitchen about what happened the night before at that dinner, and to my surprise, the bowl of moss has been recasted and is now being played by a bowl of water with floating flowers on it. I was like, what? I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss that bowl of moss. It was just fun to make fun of it all the time, but you know that the people that shot those scenes wanted us to know that it has been replaced by that bowl. Like, they just had like a long shot of it in the table between Joss and Jason, like, hey guys, did you see it? Look, it's not there anymore. Are you happy? Okay, getting a little off topic, back to Jason and Carly. So, after Jax had confronted Carly on the guest list of the wedding party, Jason felt bad for Carly and decided to have a private party for two at the Metro Court pool, and the two of them calm down and have a really nice conversation, and Carly asks Jason to dance with her, and he does, and Jason tries to kiss Carly, and Carly backed away from it. She couldn't get out of there fast enough. First of all, I'm not quite sure how I feel about Jason trying to make a move on Carly, because I still want Jason and Britt together, but I'm shocked that Carly didn't go for that kiss, because I know that obviously it's been years and years and they've been friends for such a long time, but you know, as someone who has watched Carly go after every single girl that has ever been with Jason and staking her claim to him, now that she has him, she just doesn't seem to want him anymore. And I'm like, oh, what an ironic thing for like this one-sided love affair that Carly has had with Jason after all these years. And when he finally reciprocates the feelings a little bit, she's like, whoop, no. Like, I know obviously they're trying to paint Sunny as the love of her life, and that maybe that has to do with her feeling awkward about moving on with Jason so quickly, but it's like, I don't know. It's just, how do you feel, Jarly fans? I mean, I feel like they have their own fan base that have always wanted them together, but like, this is just so weird. Funny enough, she's actually said a few times the last couple of weeks that she feels weird about marrying Jason, like super uncomfortable. I mean, maybe it has to do with the fact that deep down she feels that Sunny is alive, who knows? But I just like to believe that maybe she's like, you know what? I kind of see him like my brother now, and kissing him is kind of repulsive. Like, I just hope that's the case. That would be so funny after all this time. Still, Jason catching feelings for Carly at this point is kind of like, really, dude? Like, this is terrible. Alright, those were all the highlights, but there is one other scene I want to talk about. This week, Elizabeth tried to ask Britt for some vacation time that was really short notice. Because of the short notice, Britt turned it down, and Elizabeth went running to Terry, who agreed to give her time off. And Britt went over there to Terry to talk to her, saying, you just undermined me because I turned her down for her time off. And then Terry actually confronted Elizabeth about going behind Britt's back, and Elizabeth was like, are you scolding me? Like, yeah, she's scolding you. Britt and Terry are a team, and Terry takes that very seriously, so she was very upset with Elizabeth, but then Britt jumps in and says, you know what? I just remembered that Amy wanted to work some extra shifts, so yeah, it's fine that you take a break. And of course Elizabeth is like, oh, thank you. You know what, Nurse Elizabeth can't tell a dead guy from a live one, Weber? Take as much time off as you need. Clearly, there are better nurses and doctors on staff there that can actually tell a dead guy from a live one. You should just, you know, just maybe go back into art. Just go back into art, Liz. Now we're stuck with Peter again. Again, we are stuck with him. Not fair. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, but before I go, I wanted to say a really big thank you for your guys' patience with that last GHMV Reacts video. It took an extra couple of days to get out, and you know, I was having technical difficulties and it just got postponed over and over again, but thankfully it was out and you guys enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it too. I did mention in that video that I might take a break from GHMV Reacts for September or do a no theme. I'm deciding to take a break from it in September because work was so much crazier than I thought it would be all of July and August that it was really difficult to do those GHMV React videos as well as, you know, GHMV, and I actually have a lot of other projects that I've been putting off just to get those two shows going continuously, but now I really want to focus on the other things that I work on for a bit so I can kind of play catch up and just go full throttle with it in September, and you'll see what that is if you guys want to. I'll put some of it on my channel or talk about it at some point, but yeah, I'm gonna take a break, and then in October we're gonna make the theme really spooky. So get excited for that one, because I love me some Halloween. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.